right. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Time is just flying by, of course. Christmas is imminent. I actually was I just was diving into some things here, some coding things this morning, even before the stream started. Um, so as I was working on the new CRUD API, which, just as an aside, full circle, right? From uh, in glowing Telegram, uh, seems like a long time ago. We had all of our different microservices, right? And then a bunch of stuff got rolled into just this single API service. And now we're going back the other way. Now we have a CRUD API again. I'm pretty sure that's I guess my naming is consistent. I think this is what we had before. But anyway, so I wanted just a little shell script to do a Docker build and tag and push and trigger the Lambda to update. Is just kind of a thing so that we can iterate. And if I'm going to do that, I might as well have a VS Code task. So I have a deploy Lambda VS Code task. And I was in the process of setting environment variables. So these will be used by any of our AWS CLI things. So I just need to remove the explicit settings that I was passing. Here. And then use the environment variables to find a replace, but this is fine. Let's see. How do I want to actually do this? Can we check that the AWS account ID is set, and then we do yeah, you can do that too, sure. Create ECR URL. There we go. Account id.dkr.ecr.region.amazonaws.com /ECR repository. Let's see. Can I do... Oh, I can't do rename here. No. ECR. Domain, maybe? So we do a little less duplication of this. There we go. So now I just want to make it pretty while I'm at it. That's fine. So now if I do Control-Shift-P, run task, deploy Lambda. And it's very fast because I've deployed this Lambda multiple times as I've been testing this. Function. Yeah, update status in progress. Updating Lambda function to use the new image. It's the same image, but okay. All right, so something else that I'm doing different today. We have these two. Well, we have 3 glowing Telegram repositories now. We have the original one that's effectively becoming going to be the back end. Glowing Telegram front end. That's the front end, and then we have the transcription editor, the video editor, or whatever we call the repo. Go over to my repositories.
That would mean that we
Yeah, glowing Telegram video editor. So I'll probably add that as well, but we have workspaces going on here in VS Code. Something that I've not used a lot. I think once or twice I've played around with it. Yeah, why not? So I should use outline more. Add deployment script for Lambda and update VS Code desk. Okay, so we have a branch for that. Push that. Go. Okay, cool. So I was wondering if I would do that. So you click the little AI generate me text, and also does description. Yeah, something like that. And we can create an auto. I guess I'm doing squash for this repository. For some reason, when I set up glowing Telegram front end, I did set it to do rebase. Which, as long as you have nice commits, is good. Reviewers available. Interesting. Because I'm pretty sure. So I did get in on the beta, the what have you, for Copilot reviews. And in the absence of anyone else working on this project with me, I get a lot of this though. It's reviewed changes in the pull request generated no comments, which I guess is okay. What else do we have going around here? We have a bunch of dependency update PRs. I've not really been focused on these for a couple of reasons. So like the front end stuff, well, we're moving the front end to a separate repo. And so the front end in this repo is going to eventually be, all that will be removed. And then the dependencies for the rest stuff, well, let's take a look here. Right, so it has various dependency updates across our different crates here. I guess I could work on this, or I could do that later. All right, so this was PR from yesterday. I have been actively working on many things. We'll keep both of those tabs open. We got our project. So what's on the agenda for today is a question. Well, we have I've narrowed down the to-do list a bit, and in fact made a little thing. So the goal here is going to be, we're going to work on one thing at a time, which you would think that's reasonable, but I do have a tendency, if I'm not careful, of having like multiple things in flight, and that sometimes makes sense, but also can be problematic. And then I wanted kind of just a narrow, like just not, I wanted to narrow down kind of the top hit list of like, these are the things I want to do next. In fact, maybe I'll rename this column to next. Let's see. We could do colors, but this is fine. And then there's a whole list of things that I need to like reevaluate, give more thought to, or maybe are just really stale. Like I think this is going to be effectively done. From straight, well, maybe not. So that some of these things are like actually need to do a bunch of things to accomplish them sorts of things. But anyway, so a re-add ability to generate episodes from silence detection info as a stream subpage. Okay. So what does that mean? Well, in the existing front end in Glowing Telegram, so not in the new repo, but in the old repo. Cool, that's merged. All right, we're done with that. Oh, what did I click? Get lens. Fancy. It's going back in time. That's nice. Distracted. Right. So in the old version of Glowing Telegram in the front end, we have the ability to look at a timeline of the stream essentially, right? And see like all of the silence detection info that's gathered, and that is done through a component. I think lives here, yeah. So we have a stream timeline component. It displays a timeline of a stream with segments and density lines. So it's a very fancy thing that, does some stuff. One of the things that it lets us do, though, is it lets us, if we go into resources, streams, we have a component called stream transcript input. No. Timeline view? Yeah, timeline view. It takes the silence segments from the stream record and uses that to visualize information, and then provides a button that lets you select segments from the timeline and bulk create episodes from the stream. And so that's what I've been using over the course of the last, I don't know, nearly a year now, to split streams into episodes for YouTube. And you know, it works, and I would like to be able to continue doing that until I build something better. But I would like to have like one version of the front end, right? Whereas right now we have this front end, and then we have the front end that's in Glowing Telegram front ends, and they're, you know, divergent. It's async result loader. Nothing. Yeah. So we can't just, for instance, take this and dump it into the new front end, because the way the data is represented is different, right? So in the data model this has, the silence segments are information that's stored inside of the stream record. Whereas now, let me log into AWS real quick. Go and look at DynamoDB. But right now, when we are getting the silence detection information, it's on the underlying video metadata record, which is then related. It's linked to the stream theoretically. MFA code time. All right, I got it. Let's try this stuff. Back over. We have an AWS console. There we go. Right. Fix some stuff on my phone. So we have streams, and we have more and more. We worked. I guess it's been a few streams now, a few coding streams. We worked on getting our data from Postgres into DynamoDB. So we have a lot of that here. I didn't migrate the silence detection or transcript stuff. Pretty sure. Which is fine. I didn't have anything there that was really... like all that information is derived from looking at the video files themselves, and so now that data lives where we've regenerated it. It lives inside of this metadata table, and so we have, here's an example of, for this MKV file. So this was a 20-minute segment. We have no silence detection. Apparently, I guess we didn't detect any silences in this segment. The kind of the criteria for silence detection is that it needs to find, like, I think it's 20 seconds or more of contiguous silence, which is useful for the purposes in which I'm using this. It might be interesting to have a different, some different information pulled through that's more of like a how active the speaker is or something, rather than strictly silence. So that we have, it's not just like a Boolean yes no, but more of a gradient. But we have also the transcript information here. So words that I said. And you can tell how good the transcript is by how many ums and ahs there are in it. Maybe. I don't know. But not all of these have this, because a lot of these were recreated from our Postgres to DynamoDB migration Python script. And so they don't have the information, so I just created the record as a placeholder. One of the things that's on the list of things to do is to add the ability to trigger video reingestion on a video clip, which is one of the phrases that I use to describe the concept of what this record also represents. The short of it, though, is that, let's drag this over, the re-add ability to generate episodes from silence detection info means that we need to find all of the records in this table where the stream ID is the stream in question, and then do something about it. Did I put any notes on this item? Yeah, need to, here we go. Past me wrote something about this. Need to fetch the info from the related video clips. Copy in the components from Glowing Telegram repo, so that's the stuff I was looking at, and then fix it all. Test and fix everything. Okay. So how will we do this? So we need some kind of API endpoint that's going to let us fetch the information. We also need something in the front end that's going to fetch the information. We need lots of things. Let's look at Glowing Telegram front end. So we have a data provider, which also moved recently. Where did I move it? RA data provider. There we go. I split up the data provider. So we had a actually worth noting, the big thing since the last coding stream, I went through and pulled a lot of the things from the front end folder in Glowing Telegram over into Glowing Telegram front end, and then just kind of like clean things up and remove things if they didn't seem to make sense anymore, and just kind of a migration. And so this doesn't cover everything that the previous data provider did, but one thing that I wanted to have was the ability to import streams from Twitch, and so the Twitch videos data provider does that, or at least it attempts to. This endpoint doesn't actually exist in the new version of we don't have that in the API gateway. This was one of the things where I just set up mock service worker to intercept those requests. So there's a lot of stuff kind of in progress and in flight in terms of like making this new front end as capable as the previous one. But anyway, so REST data provider. I feel like I did some of this on stream. I think I did last coding stream maybe. But I've added more things since then and cleaned things up. I added the client-side sorting, since we aren't going to really be able to do server-side sorting practically, kind of generically for all the tables without a bunch of indexes. I just didn't want to bother. Sorting wasn't so important to me, but it's nice to be able to, like on the page you're on, hey Brainless, how's it going? At least being able to sort client side. Speaking of which, let's get the front end running. Start, show all tasks, npm start, there we go. Okay. Open a browser. How am I? I'm doing well. I suspected that I was going to end up sleeping in this morning. Let's see. So we had the stream on Friday doing Satisfactory, and that kind of ran longer, and I ended up, I don't think I went to sleep until like midnight, and then that's had kind of a follow-on effect. So I cut a long story short, I set an alarm this morning actually, so I would be up in time to kind of start the stream at my normal time. Which means I didn't necessarily get as much sleep as I otherwise could have, but feeling good anyway. Having an eggnog latte this morning, and I did go and re-add the other series into the data in DynamoDB, and I added a new thing called isActive to that record. Yeah, and so we have a front end, and we have the ability to do filtering, and the sorting does work. It's just client side though, right? Actually, I wonder, are we doing network requests? Okay, probably shouldn't be doing network requests for just changing the sort. Let's see. Don't make network requests for a client side sorting. Also, that text is kind of tiny. There we go. Brainless says, I was just giving ChatGPT the benefit of the doubt, but AI still sucks at logical thinking. Yeah. Basically, I gave it the solution to my advent of code problem and asked to explain a possible problem statement. Not good response, but oh well. Then I wanted it to give me an example of the grid and kept giving me an invalid one, even after saying, just don't place that there. It kept saying sorry and giving me the same example. Yeah, no. Yeah. I I don't know. There's sometimes where um, I think the if you give it something really free form, that can not work so well. Where oh good. I realized I didn't have Discord up. I like having Discord up on the side so that I can see if someone messages me. There we go. Yeah. One thing I've been kind of enjoying is in VS Code, Copilot edits is in preview. Yeah, it's pretty good for no problems. Like do Fibonacci, but something that was not online before. Yeah, no. If it hasn't seen the problem before, yeah, yeah. Like yeah, it is hit or miss, but I've enjoyed it with like I need to write a React component. Or like take this React component and I want to do this to it. But it also can kind of go off way the wrong direction in terms of doing things. Like I was trying to add some animation stuff to a component at one point. I ended up not keeping any of it anyway, but it was like, well, it did things that weren't, consistent with how the project was laid out, and sometimes it does that. Yeah, but yeah, I think that sort of thing can be really dangerous if you don't. Yeah. Oh, you. I wasn't even looking in chat, but yeah. My concern, Brainless says, is that many young developers think it's magic and while bugs are introduced. Yes, absolutely. If it's one thing when let me write a function and then it auto completes and gives me the body of the function. I can quickly look at that and be like, yeah, that looks right, and then take it or change it slightly or say no, let me clarify something and iterate on it. It's another thing to just like if you can't tell whether the answer is right or not, that you're not going to get good results. And in a professional setting, you're just going to make it someone else's problem. If you can't tell, you open a PR, and you're like, here's the answer. Yeah. Anyway, so get mini reference. I think this is what we need. So what? Yeah, don't get me wrong, I've used it a couple times mostly to get an idea for a solution, but as I know what it should look like, it's more like a second opinion. Yeah. It's definitely something where sometimes I see things there that, I mean, it's not really any different from like searching on Stack Overflow or GitHub and seeing examples and being like, yeah, or, oh, that's an interesting way of doing it, but it's, what I especially like are the things where it can like take a solution and apply it into, and like it can do that pattern matching of, oh, here's the style of the kind of the structure of the thing, but use my variables and my functions to do it. And that saves a lot of typing, which maybe is a downside for getting typing practice, but I think I'm pretty good at this point. I did some Oh, I don't have that tab handy anymore. I did some like typing test stuff, and I was like maybe 60 words per minute or something, which I guess is maybe good. I think that tab is on a different desktop. I'm not gonna go find it right now, but how? What was I doing? This is what this is for. To remind me what I'm doing. Okay, related video clips. Ultimately, we want to re-add the silence detection, timeline, and bulk episode creation functionality. And the thought was, how are we going to get the information? I think let's do this. So resources, streams. We're going to make a new page. Yeah. What is the function of this page? It's essentially a, let's just call it timeline.tsx. And we'll just make an empty component for the moment. Yeah, coming soon. Exactly. There you go. Ta-da! It's a component. And then app.tsx. This is getting kind of large at this point. This is our React admin component, all of the wrapper stuff, which keeps growing. So we have like our localization provider for date pickers, and we have our WebSocket provider and our timer manager provider. Anyway. So inside of streams, I'm going to do something like what I did for series, where we have these nested routes to be able to nest different views inside of it. Notably, this is not how I did it in the original front end. Instead, we use tabs, right? And I've used that kind of tab form approach in a few different places. I think it has some problems, and I think that I like the idea of having a separate page for things. So what is this path going to be like? So this is going to be like :ID/timeline. Yeah, and we're going to use that timeline component. We'll call it stream timeline. Let's see, did it do the import right? Import stream timeline from. Nope. Let's see, where does this timeline component live? It lives in resources. SOC, resources, streams. Oh yeah, timeline. There we go. Yeah, that should be fine. We're importing the default export from this file. Oh, right, of course. We have to do it like this. Speaking of AI giving us the wrong answer. That's probably the thing that trips me up the most, is those small suggestions where I just like let it autocomplete and I don't really pay attention. Fortunately, you know, lots of good feedback in a well set up environment that, hey, this isn't right. So we don't even get to the point of trying to like go to the front end and trying to use it. So the streams. We don't have a way of getting to that new page, so let's add that. So in streams lists, I'll add a button to the list view. I mean, I know at some point I added a clone button. Also, I regret somewhat the copy and paste that I did of all the components into Glowing Telegram front end. I could have done this in a way where I brought over the commit history from the other repo, but that would have been complicated. And I guess I could always look at the old repo, go back to, I mean, eventually these components won't exist in the old repo anymore, but I can go back in history to when they did, and then look at the commit history of things if I really cared to. But yeah, the thought there was, do I want this clone button? I don't know why. I think this was something that seemed useful at the time. No, I don't think it is anymore. Can we add a button? Brainless says, I just undusted a mechanical keyboard a friend gifted me years ago, and which for some reason I never used. For the new laptop my company sent me has one major issue: the Lenovo switched the control and function. Oh yeah, I use control command with shift a lot. There should be, maybe there's a setting in BIOS or in the Lenovo settings to flip the function of the function and control keys. Maybe. I've seen that before on my work laptop that is sitting over here behind the scenes. So how do we add a button? Do I have an example of that in Streamplans? In the list, maybe? List action. Oh yeah, list actions. Here we go. Button. Something like that. I don't think it's possible. At least I do either use KMonad or Canada for keyboard remapping, but FN is hardware based. Right. Well, that's what I mean though. Is there might be something like built into the laptop to change. Yeah, with those software like the keyboard remapping, sure. But there might be like something inside of the like the BIOS or something to switch control and function. Just a thought. So there's got to be a better way of doing this. Let's go look at the React admin docs. Do I have a tab already for the React admin docs? Yes. I go there a lot. Also, is there a dark mode? No. Sad. There's a beginner mode. What was I looking for? Get distracted. A better way of making a button. Making a link in the list view. Boy, how would I do that? Buttons. Edit, show, create list. Record buttons, update, delete, clone. Oh, let's look at clone button. Clone button can be added anywhere there's a record context to redirect users to the record's create page. So how does how does this work, right? We were using the clone button inside of the context of the list view. So let's go look at the source for clone button. Brainless says, only concern I have with this keyboard, it uses blue switches. Oh, as in like the kind of yeah, that's what it's called, right? It is. I mean, it is literally a switch. The thing underneath the keycaps are switches. Noisy, clicky. Yes. I forget what kind of what kind of switches I got for this. I think it was the recommended ones for the Moonlander, but let's go. Wonder if I can look at my order history. No, but I can probably. I think I selected the recommended one, which looks like it was the Cherry MX Brown. The tactile, yeah. They have a bunch of different options, including the Cherry MX Blue, which is described as clicky. But I think I went with the default. It doesn't look like there is like an account on the ZSA page where I could log in. I guess I could probably look at my history if I were to navigate over to there, but that's a little bit more involved than I want to do right now. All right. So I was watching a video the other day where they rated blind. Did like blind rating? Excuse me. Of switches, everyone was hating the cherry browns, but they're the most used ones. Interesting. I don't know. I mean, these seem fine. It's somewhat audible, like if I'm listening for it, or if I'm not talking when I'm typing. In like looking at VODs, I can hear the keyboard sometimes, but it's not too bad. So, what is this create path function? Use create path. And then we go back to the docs and we look at, there should be a index. Create path, huh? Oh, hooks, here we go. Use create path is not a thing that's listed here. Great. Resource type create. Path name, search, record. Well, let's go look at what this function is. Get a callback to create a link to a given page in the admin app. List, edit, show, or create. Resource ID optional. It's used internally by React admin. If your app is mounted in the root path, you don't need it. You can create links by hand. Okay. Maybe I should just do that instead of trying to be fancy. Well, first of all, we don't need search. But we would do something where this would be like streams, something and timeline, right? We'll need to figure out what timeline icon is. And also import button. And link. Can it? Yeah, there we go, from React Router DOM. And then, no, it's not going to be, it's not going to figure out how to import that from MUI. I really doubt there is a Okay, maybe there is. Maybe there is a timeline icon. Very well. How do we get the ID though? Well, going back here, it is well, presumably use create path. This stuff does that, but we should be able to. Actually, yeah, let's look at what this does. Okay, so the callback takes the ID, the type, and the resource, and then it adds the ID. Okay, so that's one of the things in the parameter passed to create path. Oh, well, let's see. I guess a problem with using this as an example is it doesn't use the ID, but it implies. Okay, yeah, okay. So what we do know is that I was able to use this clone button in the context of the list. So use record context must have the ability to get to the record in that the specific record in the data grid in the list view. So what we need to do is we're gonna make a button. We're gonna call it a timeline button. It doesn't take any props. It does take props. Whoops. What are clone button props? Yoink. Okay, so let's create a file. Do I want to do this way? I don't really want to do this way. Let's do a okay, let's not right now. Until we have like more than one use case, I'm not going to make a generic component that would take like the different parts of the path name, assemble it, and those sorts of things. We won't do that. Borrow this. Actually, yeah, let's be even simpler, right? So this is going to be Okay, I'm confused. That can't be right. Why? Okay, it just takes button props, type of link, emit to. You do that. And then import all the things. Then we take our button that we were working on and put this here. And then this goes to this. And record.id. It's a lot of work just to have a button take us to a sub page, but there you go. If record is undefined, then return null. Or if it doesn't have an ID, I guess. And then we add our timeline button. And figured out what it's yelling at us about. Oh, I left a curly brace. And some things are types. Here we go. All right, so if I go back here and we go back to the front end, Didn't work. Interesting. Let's read the docs. Hook to read the record from a record context must be used within such as provided by the. Okay, well that's broken. There are words missing here. Interesting. Here we go. Must be used within a record context such as provided by the edit context provider, as a descendant of edit or edit based or within a show context provider. Interesting. It doesn't talk about list, but the clone button definitely did work. Or did it? I guess, to be fair, I had it here. Did it actually work? As in, did it take us to a create view and have the data from this record? Back in with Python and Rust, yada, yada, yada. Yeah. Yeah, it has all that info. So where's our button? Oh, no, there's a timeline icon. It exists. Let's do this. Console log record. Oh, I should have put some text there. Oh, wait, oh, there it is, record. And it has an ID. Okay. So, and we get 4 of them for the 4 records. So that all seems good. Why no button? Generic button with a side icon. Maybe we're using this wrong. Label, timeline, color, on click, component link. Yeah. Add some text there. Why no button? It doesn't like that anyway. It's only expecting 1 child element inside of it. Console. Yeah, so like we don't see that error at all. Timeline button. What are we missing? Where did I get this example from? Whoops. Control Shift F. There we go. Which button is this? Okay, it is a button from React Admin. Is this button from React Admin? Yes. It's strange. Why is it not working then? I guess I need to compare my. Ignore the warnings. My button to what the clone button is doing. Button component link, and it's using link from React Router DOM to state label on click icon. Is it doing anything to clone button? It memoizes it, sure. That's so strange. Look, just span I. But it's not there. Why is my button not there? Oh. It helps if you return things from a component. Well, behold, it's a timeline button. All right, and it didn't take us to the right place, but we'll fix that after the break, which I'm going to take right now for a couple minutes, and I shall return with more of all this. Oh, there we go. We got there. All right, interview.